feeling of knowing the world and knowing what this is, that can feel totally fine, or it can feel a little bit not fine, or there can be cracks in the safety of what is known, and there can be cracks in the kind of dryness of knowing the world. So then this ordinary sitting and breathing is totally not exciting. Why would it be exciting? Sure, I know that, I've done that. You don't need to come to a meeting to tell me what this is, what breathing and sitting is. I know it. And in essence, you could say that it's that I know it. So I don't know this is breathing, sitting on a chair. I don't know that this is a hotel, that this is a room, but I know that's what they're called. Apparently, that's what they're called. But it's in essence what we're talking about is the permanent kind of mystery that in essence can't. It's most mysteries we're used to kind of getting to the bottom of. Most mysteries are explainable. Most mysteries are, well, somebody should know. And if they're saying it's a mystery, then they should know that, it's a mystery. This is the sound of saying that it's a mystery. It's so immediately what's appearing to happen that the movement to imagine that it's other is, you could say the veil, but there isn't a veil really. There isn't anything getting in the way of what's appearing to happen. There isn't anything once removed what's appearing to happen. Everything is this, as whatever it is. But and that's the ordinariness. That's the extraordinariness. There's just this. Now, that sensing, or that this, what's appearing to happen, is as everything. So it can feel like I'm here. There's the world, there's a reality, and I'm moving through my life. And that's how it can be felt, and I know who I am, more or less. I can describe what I've done and where I'm going. And that, for the most part, is the kind of contractual interactions with people throughout the world. 99% of interactions are, sharing a story about who we are, what we've been, and that story is felt to be real, right? And somehow or other, there's a gazillion different ways, but somehow or other, we happen to stumble upon a communication like non-duality, and there's so many different stories about how perhaps that communication came into our seeing, right? And it might have been on the back of a spiritual search. It might have been on the back of, cracks in this felt sense of self, this certainty of me and the world, cracks in that, and then somehow it just stumbling across this communication seems to happen. And the uncompromising communication is saying that this is already whole and complete, and that whatever is appearing to happen is this, and that there is nothing in this for you, because communication or this doesn't see anyone separate, doesn't see anything, and it's, in essence, it is a total kind of cluelessness, but it's not a having that. That's just a word to describe. You could say childlike innocence, you could say wonder, but all those are kind of attractive words, because it appears then like that, there's something had that makes this ordinary sitting on a chair better, and or more something. And all the while it seems like this will come back to the ordinary, unbelievable mystery of something appearing to happen, and or no thing happening, or just what it appears to be, not an image of what it appears to be, not an imagination of am I sitting on the chair right, am I breathing right, but that would also be what is, because when you say there's just what's appearing to happen, this is it, there's a kind of a feel of is there something missed? but it actually is the reaction of, is there something missed? And to appear to talk about this, it almost seems like it can be known, but it is so immediately what's appeared to happen that it's as everything. And so there's nothing known here. In fact, where the knowings are probably elsewhere, knowing that this is a world, knowing that this is non-duality. And that's kind of in a way, there's something known, or there's absolutely nothing known, and that's not a known thing. And this non-dual communication is a kind of, it's a total paradox, because what's been said is that there is no self in there that can know that there is no self. So in essence, the prize, sometimes the prize, the movement can be, and obviously these are all just general, but the movement can be, I want to know what it's like. I want to know what it's like to be no self. That, that can be, it may not be, but that can be the movement. And the great news and the bad news is that there is already no self. And so there won't be a self to recognize that there is no self. There's just no self. Now, there is what is, really. That's the most that can be said. And as what is, there can be the felt feeling of, I am here, I am a self, and whatever else. And so this kind of conversation is an open sharing to who knows what exactly anything is, but there's a possibility for a sharing, there's a possibility to ask questions, there's a possibility to say anything. There isn't a kind of a way to talk, or like there isn't non-duality. There isn't a thing called non-duality, there isn't a thing called anything. But it's so, what I'm trying to say in a way is that if there's a question that's there to be asked, just ask, unmute. There isn't a stupid question, you can't do this wrong or right. You're not doing it, but you're also not doing the feeling of it being maybe awkward, or the push and pull between asking a question. It's there. What we're talking about is just simply what's appearing to happen. So let's have a go and let's see what happens. Online, just hit the unmute button and go and ask a question, and obviously just go for it and let's see what happens.
I've got one. Try this one on for size.
Okay.
Nothing has ever happened.
Well, in essence, without the story, there's just what's appearing to happen. And even saying there's just what's appearing to happen is a total story. So to describe anything is a story. To say anything is a story, and we can sit here in total silence. And the problem with total silence is it would be seen then that total silence is this. So no, this is absolutely, no, it without the story, nothing, absolutely nothing. And nothing isn't a thing, it's not anything. And saying not anything is too late. Once you open your mouth, it's over. So, yeah, it's this, and the constant movement is to kind of move into the story about this. And it's unbelievable to say nothing ever happened. It's unbelievable, because actually it doesn't neither require belief or disbelief, but there's a story to be told, and in the story everything is then real, more or less. Even saying, about real or unreal, it's impossible. But I think that's but it's this though. It is this sitting, breathing. This is the unfathomable. Throw that in. Just let's discuss.
Just start job. There's two words, right, that have come up, that come up now and again, right, to in an attempt to describe or whatever. And one is schizophrenic, and the other one is anarchy. Chaos can be another one of the attempt to try and hold or it just goes through your fingers, isn't it? And that can be quite discombobulating.
Yeah, well, this is anarchy.
Yeah, it is anarchy.
This is anarchy, and it's in the knowing of it. It's somehow safe in the felt feeling of, I know this. So this is totally inexplicable chaos, and yet it appears, even to be able to describe it as inexplicable chaos, it seems like then it could be understood as that. But sure, it can't be understood. It's as this. It's as talking, and in actuality, it really just sounds. Really, the meaning maker can find meaning in words like chaos, and can somehow, like, in a way, the amazing is that, well, saying, is sitting on a chair, breathing, feelings, senses, it somehow makes it kind of digestible. Okay, so yeah. Holding on for dear life, almost, the feeling of that. But you see, the wonderful thing is, there isn't somebody in there that needs to hold on for dear life. So they can't do a reaction to this. They can't do a tightening or an expansion to this. They can't do an openness to this communication. They can't do a tiny inch. It's totally beyond an idea, and it's beyond you. It's beyond the beyond. And anarchy is a wonderful word, but sitting on a chair, the image of anarchy is just, revolution and chaos. Sitting on he doesn't look very anarchic there, sitting on a chair, drinking a cup of coffee, but it is edge of the edgelessness, and this is edge of the edgelessness. But it can't be known as that. It is already as whatever reaction to that is then. Saying it is edge of the edgelessness is kind of romantic as words, but it doesn't mean anything. There's no getting closer or further away from any reaction.
And when you talk about meaning, Frank, and I understand conceptually, right, that there's no meaning of what happens to the me, and in that the me always, or the illusory self, tries to grasp something and say, oh, that has special meaning for me, and it creates itself as the centre then. It's how it does that. So I understand it in terms of, there is no meaning, and yet it does seem like very meaningful things are happening. And I also understand conceptually that there is and isn't. That I think Donald Hoffman describes it as having a headset, and this is like we're all have a headset on, something like that. So I understand it is and isn't. It's just what's happening. But it just seems, it seems hard to understand that nothing has any meaning. Not even just for the personal illusory self, but that what happens seems to have some kind of intelligence or meaning at times in whatever happens.
where you see there isn't an illusory self that is a thing. You know, meaning appears to be attributed by the, let's say, the meaning maker, and so it appears, but it's there isn't meaning, or beyond the story maker, there isn't meaning, and there isn't a personal self, and there isn't an illusory self. You know, it's kind of like, in a way, so already you can't touch your attempt to understand this. You know, so it's not only difficult, it's impossible, because it's so far beyond. It's not that it's so far beyond. You can't touch your attempt to understand this. So there's not an inch of this that you can do. Not an inch. So that question there that appears to be asked, it seems like, well, you know, I'm asking that question. But the response to this is that you're not asking that question.
Yeah, I get that, but the question's being asked.
So the question was asked about meaning, and that's the kind of disbelief that there can't be meaning when things appear to be meaningful. So if meaning appears to be taken, then that's what's appearing to happen. There's nothing wrong or right. So in other words, if the feeling of seeing a child do something amazing, or a beautiful flower, or whatever, and the reaction to that, and that it's wonderfully meaningful, it's then that's the reaction that appears to happen. It's all that's been saying that this is the total free fall, so that can happen. So there's nothing wrong or right about saying, well, that was really meaningful for me. In a way, you could say, though, that the meaning maker wants things to be special. So, in other words, sitting, having a cup of coffee, looking at the rain, and the dullness of that, perhaps, that's not special. But, you know, something extraordinary, that's special. And in a way, that seems to be the movement, you could say, that of the self, that things are special. You know, that like in spirituality, things are special, and that are holy, and that things are, yeah, it seems to be that ordinary sitting on a chair is not special, and everything is divided into things, that this is special, this is not special, you know, and whatever judgment appears.
With you, is there no sense at all of things going to happen? Let's say I need to take the kids to school, or these things just happen, arise? Like there's no thought about it, or preparation, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, so this includes absolutely everything, and it's not a state, it's exactly the same. There's just what's appearing to happen. In that might be planning, organising, thoughts appear, wondering about the kids, everything. So it's not a state, it's not a once removed idea, and it's not an image of what life could be. In other words, there might be a kind of a wondering about, well, what's it like then? So the response is, it's exactly, completely and totally the same. There's just what's appearing to happen. Ordinary, sitting, thinking, wondering, everything.
And still completely different.
So everything is incomparable, including the attempt to compare. So everything is anew, even if feeling, and that anewness is also feeling tired, pissed off, frustrated. It's in the image making machine, this would always be sweet, wise, perfect, and yet it's perfect as it being absolutely crap, as the technology not working, as everything.
my imagination, it's quite remarkable to think that, I mean, I don't have a sense of self or separation, but there is definitely duality here. Like, there's not seeking for answers anymore, but there is definitely wanting. But it seems quite remarkable to think that things just apparently happen, like nobody's orchestrating it. Because here it feels, even though I don't feel like even a separate person, I don't even know what that means, but there is still a feeling that I'm doing things. And to think that there is nobody doing anything is really remarkable.
It is not only remarkable, it's just absolutely phenomenal. And nobody knows that there is no one. Nobody knows this. There is, I'm looking at the speaker. Sorry, you're. It's so funny. There's the speaker over there, and I'm staring there. I probably could stare there, but Jesus. You're the sound in the corner, by the way. It's lovely. There isn't a self to know. There's no self. So all there is perhaps is this the movement to kind of understand, or the wondering and thinking about this. Thoughts never get to the bottom of their own attempt to get to the bottom of things. Do you know? So it's not only remarkable, it's unbelievable in the scheme of 99.9% of the world to say there's no one doing anything. No one growing the grass, the leaves, no one beating the heart, no one doing the thinking, no one in the entire universe. It's not only remarkable, it's the fucking most amazing thing you could possibly talk about. And yet, you go talk about this in normal circles, and Siobhan mentioned schizophrenia at the start. I mean, that really, you are going to be locked up. So, you know, and yet, we're talking about the elephant. The elephant is as the room. The elephant in the room is as everything. So it's amazing in a way. But then you see, if there was someone that could know this, then they'd go around apparently knowing this and being able to explain it. It just so happens that it appears like, let's say, a communication or a description is happening. But that's also what is. There's nothing that knows what is.
Yeah. I don't understand even what it means. There is just sitting on a chair.
Yeah, it's a
What
story.
does it mean?
Yeah, it's just sitting on a chair, breathing, feelings, and to say that that's a story or as good as the story gets. And amazingly, you don't understand your attempt or the saying of "I don't understand." It's totally beyond the mind and understanding this.
This I understand.
Perfect. Gold star. Brilliant.
I think it was Paul Hederman, somebody once said, "Oh, I understand what you said," and he said, "Oh, I must have done something wrong then, if you understand."
In a way, this can be also conceptualized. It's impossible for it not to be conceptualized or objectified as something.
Yeah.
And that, in a way, it's not even in a way. That's when the description appears that this is it. This is the mystery. Sitting on a chair, breathing, feelings, whatever is happening, is the mystery. It's impossible for that which wants to know. They kind of go, what do you mean? You mean to tell me that I came into a meeting to be told that there's just sitting on a chair and it's ordinary this yeah.
But you can't explain sitting on a chair.
No, that's as good as the story gets. Yeah, it is. That's as good as the story gets. I can't explain anything.
Can't explain
I-
the carpet.
I can't explain the sound of the voice. I can't explain what I'm saying. I can't explain anything. Absolutely nothing is known. But that's not somewhere, in a way that it's not something special. That's already the case. But there is the overlay of knowings, of somehow that this is safe.
So, like you'd often say, yeah, it's amazing, and you know what I mean, you're really passionate about this. So it seems like there's a relaxation there about all of this. Like you seem pretty comfortable with it all. So like there seems to be loads of glimpses here. Like for years, I've spoken to you about this before. Glimpses, but sometimes even now, they're just so, I don't know, nuts. Like fucking, the perception changes, like, and it's like, and it's not that it's not light, but it's like, you know, how could you be living like, not living like this all the time, but I suppose a glimpse is just so radical that it's like, fuck, wow. Like, was it ever that, like that, where it's just crazy, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, does it mellow, does it, I don't know.
Well,
the
the wonderful thing is you don't have to get comfortable with anything. You don't have to live your life or wonder about what it would be like living your life. You don't have to do uncomfortable with it either. You don't have to do the crazy. You don't have to do this is mental. It's just what's appearing to happen.
I know, but what's happening is fucking nuts.
And
you know?
this is totally inexplicable. And it is nuts. From any kind of logical perspective, any kind of noble perspective, it's nuts.
What I mean, like nuts from 1 second ago to this second, like these glimpses, these apparent glimpses, to change a perception just feels radically different, you know. Fucking, I don't know, and that's what I'm just saying. Couldn't live like this, you know what I mean? Like maybe sometimes there's just total relaxation with it, but other times you're just sitting here going, like, it wouldn't make any difference. I was just thinking there, it wouldn't make any difference to me if you were standing on the chair making monkey noises. You know, it just.
But that's exactly.
It wouldn't.
Yeah.
I'd still be going here. This is nuts, and you know, it's kind of, I don't know.
Overwhelming.
Yeah, just totally an explosion, like totally. But then you can't make sense of it. Like, you want to go and hide in the corner.
Yeah, well, that's the schizophrenia. There is a bit of that, you know.
I don't know. It's just so
sometimes
radically different.
It's not like you want to be
Once it-
comfortable
yeah,
with
It's
it.
it's just hard to imagine. Sometimes, like I said this before, it's like all of a sudden the nothingness is so nothing that it's just like falling, and then you're thinking, maybe the thought just comes back, and I gotta land somewhere. I couldn't live falling all the time. Like, it just. But I'd imagine it does mellow out. Maybe it does. You're not always going around. I don't know. Yeah, and sometimes it does feel more relaxing, but other times the sensation is just. I'm just describing, probably now, should I describe what you're feeling 1 minute, thinking. I don't know. It's just. All I'm saying is a glimpse is nuts. If that, I don't know. Crazy. Yeah. And this, I don't know. This has been going on for years. Like, apparently. Yeah, I don't know.
And there's no validation for anything. There's no nobody that can say, oh, this will get better now, or this will settle down, or this will, and there's, you know, there's no mommy and daddy to tuck in at night.
100%.
All authority is gone. Everything is gone. So there's just then what's appearing to happen. So if this the full onness or the sensitivity is, then that's just what's appearing to happen. And if it's sitting vegging watching Netflix, everything is grand, then that's just what's appearing to happen. It's as everything. In the fucking inescapable, and also the attempt to want to go and hide under the bed and girdle back up. That's just what is also. You can't do that. That's just the
Hey Frank, can you hear me?
yeah.
Yeah, just to Sven here, just to echo what the speaker said, that sometimes the intimacy is so shocking that it's beyond breathtaking. It's terrifying, and it feels then it's so intimate. It's just excruciating. And then there feels to be a retraction or something from that. It's unspeakably excruciating to be so intimate.
And amazingly, that there's nothing once removed from that excruciatingness. That's the amazingness, the feeling of this is excruciating. There's nothing once removed from that. That's just what is then. And saying just what is kind of makes it, oh, well, it's just what is then. It's not a just what is. It's an unbelievable phenomenality, but it's also ordinary breathing, sitting on the chair, or whatever is being described or felt. And it's no one's. In a way, all the imaginations of this is that there's a state, that it's once removed, that it's Zen, like, there's nothing once removed from anything, and it's full on edgy aliveness, or just what it appears to be. Which doesn't diminish, or if fuck, that would also be what it is. And in a way, what's kind of beautiful is if there was somebody in there trying to hold the whole universe together. What a task! Trying to hold it all together, trying to keep it from X and Y. You know what I mean? Push away. There isn't anyone in there. There's just fully that. Fully though, not. Or there's fully what's being described and felt. Apparently.
I thought maybe it's a bit like, the 3D pictures that you see a flat paper and there's all these dots and stuff, and then if you cross your eyes and go back from it, suddenly it becomes 3D. It has sort of a depth to it. So I thought it's a bit like that. There is sort of a shift, quote unquote, but nothing really changed. The paper with the dots is still the paper, just you see it different. Or it's seen differently. It suddenly has a different.
Yeah, I mean, if it wasn't just simply what is, then there would be loads of things to do to get to what is. Cross your legs, balance on one foot, stand on your head, and hold your breath, and put one eye open. Then you could see this for what it is. says everything, including the attempt to want to know it.
I don't even want to see it. I don't even care if I'm there or not there to see or know or anything. It just sounds that something there is more relaxed than here. That's how it sounds to me. There's something slightly better than what's here, in some way. Not that everything will be la-di-da and fantastic and idyllic and everything, but there is some sort of a tension gone.
Yeah, that's the dream, isn't it? It's always just, it has to be a little bit better if he's organising a meeting. He's sitting on the chair, but I can see that he's just a little centimetre above the chair. He's gliding on the chair. No, that's the dream, and if that's what's being felt, then that's what's being felt, but the response is exactly that. Ordinary, totally, holistically, completely ordinary what is. And that can include feeling crap, tired, whatever. Everything. That's the mystery, is that. But in a way, you know, that in a way though, like that's, I can specifically remember, I couldn't get my head around why anybody would grab a microphone and start talking. Why would they start talking if if there's nothing to be described? Why? They must have something. They must. If they're arranging a meeting in a room, they must have something. And no, absolutely nothing. That's the killer. And in fact, it is you in a way that has that. Or you, in a way, you could say you are the imagination that it's better over here. There isn't you and that. And the response is that it's, well, it is actually great in the room here. It is brilliant.
But I think it was you, somebody asked you if you had sort of I know it's silly, but if you would want to go have the feeling of separation again.
I think that somebody asked me, would I go, the response I gave was, would I go back to be as seeking, really? And would I go back to seeking? If seeking was happening, then that would be this, but would I go back to seeking and trying to get this out? No, but you know, the seeing is that there was nobody doing the podcast, and nobody trying to figure this out, and the apparent seeing is not even seeing that there was nobody doing that or anything. So, you know, it's an interesting one. In some ways, you could say that the whole seeking thing is amazing because it gives you something to do as a person. You know, you can go to a meeting and there's the potentiality of a meeting, and even if the meeting is offering disappointment and or not even disappointment, nothing, but you know, there's the wonder of an excitement of a new book, or there's, oh, you just need to go meditate now this way, and all of those kind of little tasks, they're exciting. But I was also utterly repelled by the idea that this could be known, and that this had an authority, and that this was about knowing, and that it could be bound by words, or that it had to be referred to as an experience, you know. So anyway,
you don't have like any sense of relief or more.
So I don't have any. I don't have anything. I don't even have the sound of my own voice. But in a way, relief can appear to happen. In other words, like if this was a meeting where there was something on offer, and something trying to be explained, or a process, or a path, or something known, if it was something known, there would be the opposite of relief, whereas the relief is that this is just unbelievably what it appears to be. But it's no one's relief. And that's a story. There's just this. Just ordinary, that, the sound of that question, or the hearing of that question. It's no one's anything.
But there has been a description sometimes of that when the self drops away at the illusion of, and it's seen that there never was a self, that seems to bring something in that there's no self-grasping whatever is happening, and building a story out of it, and that can be a relief, because whatever is happening, if it is suffering or whatever, there's no self adding a story to it, and that seems like as if there's something different there than here in this duality.
Yeah, in a way, it's you then who has a difference in mind, that image, because that's the wanting for it to be different. And if there's relief, it's no one's relief. And if there's frustration, it's no one's frustration. If it's no one, so that's the impossibility. But what's wanted there in a way is to hear that there is relief, or that there is some sort of a gain in all this.
Because that's what was said, at some other meeting, that there was just something of, there's no self for it. It's like the nail in the air, there's no self trying to attach something to something, that drops away.
But there is no self already in there.
Yeah.
Already they're asking that question, there is no self.
Yeah, and conceptually, get that. But it does seem to be.
I don't get it. I don't get.
Well, I understand conceptually that there's no self here, even as the question's being asked. But it has been said by somebody.
Yeah.
Maybe Kenneth, I'm not sure, but there's something around that there's nothing for the self to continue making a story out of whatever arises.
Well, so what he's describing is that's one description. There's probably a gazillion descriptions. Some which are just all right, okay, or some are fucking. It's this. What the? Was it always this? Or all right, okay. So it's but what's always sought in a way is the headline news. Nice. That somebody fell away and there was relief. In a subtle way, that it's slightly better, and it's that in a way you could say that the characteristics are free to be fully what they appear to be. But then if there's a kind of a contraction or an awkwardness as the character, then you can't do that, but that would be what is. So anything and everything is possible. Any reaction is possible. And like the impossibility is like what's been said here is there's just what's appeared to happen. And after that, and that's as good as the story gets, right? There's just what's appeared to happen. So for relief was to be described, then that would be what is being described.
Like there is like three words, like resonance and relaxation and relief, which are often heard here or in these conversations.
Yeah, but you can add total frustration.
Okay.
What are you talking about even? There's nothing to say, or you can add another 21 reactions. You know what I mean? 21 gazillion reactions, or unfoldings, or whatever story then is being told or description is being felt. But in a way, it's always the good ones. It's not full on edgy being alive. It's resonance, relaxation, relief, not fucking hell, not okay, I'm going now, enough, or whatever. It's intimately as whatever reaction. What do you mean? You mean it's the but? It's as but then. It's as everything. And that's not a known thing then. Because, scratch every single word. There's just what's appearing to happen.
Yes.
You see, no one's relief. So is impossible for that which likes to want to know no one's relief. There is no one in there that can know no one's relief. So do you mean to tell me that frustration is also relief, that it's just frustration? No, it's just frustration. It's just exactly what it appears to be then.
So Frank, hi.
Hiya.
The story, the me has never told the story. The story is just what's happening. The me has never, the me can't separate. There's no one to separate from what is going on. Like here, the immediacy and the aliveness and the intimacy Ben was saying would seem to be missed, and yet that's it as well.
Yeah, there isn't to be.
And for no one, like.
Yeah, there isn't to me, and the most then that can be said is that there's just what's appearing to happen.
What's appearing to happen here is often a me telling a story. Yay.
Nothing but stories. Outside the story, there's just.
But even a story can't separate itself from this, because it is.
Yeah. There's nothing wrong or right. There's just what is, and it's whole and complete.
Yeah.
But it's not known as whole and complete. They're just a couple of words. It's just already what is, it's impossible. And yet it appears as saying this is impossible. It's already too late. It's already as whatever is coming out of this trapdoor, whatever thoughts, feelings, everything.
Would you say it's felt as whole and complete, like?
No, it's not felt as anything at all, because it's inescapable from. In a way, you could say it's inescapable from saying. It's inescapable from saying. It's so immediately as whatever, and it's kind of then like there's an apparent description appearing, but that's also what is. It's not describing anything. It's appearing as describing, and then even describing is just seems like it can be described, but it's just appearing as describing. Yeah, it's just like it's that laughter there. I keep looking at the speaker. I have to put that. Yeah, put them aligned. So anyway, yeah.
So there's no duality, if that's what.
No,
Yeah,
there's
no duality.
no duality.
Sorry, excuse me.
Thanks a million. That's the coffee and tea.
Coffee and tea, yeah.
Lovely.
No problem.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Enjoy.
Yeah, yes.
Seems to be a happening, and any happening would have to have time.
Mm.
But that's just apparent.
Well, in a way, saying that there's just what's appearing to happen, for example, that makes this appear to be noble. Then, it's noble as there's just what's appearing to happen. It's not noble as there's just what's appearing to happen. So then, whatever sensing or feeling or wondering is arising there, then that's utterly unique and incomparable. Just suddenly, what it is. But it's, in a way, words make this seem to be kind of noble or understandable the moment you use a word, and it's almost like to try and create a story or a way to make this noble and understandable. So whether it's a big story or a small story, even, for example, to say this is unknowable, then that can be taken on as a concept. Sure, it's unknowable then. I don't know it as unknowable or noble. It's just unknowing is whatever, a nice word, but that would give the impression then that somebody knows that it's unknowable. I don't know that it's unknowable. So, and then the idea of, if idea of time, it's almost then has to, it's in a movement in a way is to confirm time and to confirm the A to B-ness of everything. But what's being described here is the uncatchableness, the unfathomableness, and that's in a way the newness of every single happening, of every single thought, feeling, sensation, never to be repeated. But then what the image making will do is go, God, well, I don't know it to be that. I don't know what you're describing there, but that's just, they're just words. Everything is just a story here. Like it seems, we're talking about the immediacy of just what's appearing to happen, where the description, the immediacy of just what's appearing to happen can't be known as that. So then it's, what do you mean? What do you mean? That there isn't a safe ground or an explanation, because we're used to having everything explained from this high to that high. Somebody must know and somebody can explain it. And then what's happening here is the total lack of explanation of any kind. Although it seems like when the mouth is talking and words are being spoken that something is being said, and in actual fact, no.
God, that's beautiful. Sorry. It's just, yeah. It's like, when I listen to this, often I'll feel like such beauty in what's being said, and then the mind will kick back in, oh, hang on, no, wait now, I've got so many questions, and then you'll say something like that and it'll just knock it out. I don't even know what you said.
Yeah, but I don't either. But it is, but it's wonderfully also as the thoughts then. It's everything including the thoughts. It's not just, it's the uncomfortableness, it's the awkwardness, it's the wondering, the trying to get it, the not trying to get it, the thinking it's great, the thinking it's absolutely shit, thinking it's painful, whatever.
Mm.
And then, it's just that there's no one doing anything.
I keep finding I'll go like, yeah, oh yeah, I get what you, no, fuck, I've just got it again. That's, oh no, and then I go, oh no, but now I just know I just got it again.
Yeah.
Oh no, now I know I.
Imagine it's that. Imagine it's that. It's just unbelievable. Imagine it's that, just falling constantly as everything. I nearly had it. I nearly. It's that though too though. He said something there and no, but it's that like.
So
I was
frustrating.
that, but it is as that though. It's as I nearly had fucking. Oh shit! What was the inside? Imagine if it could then. Imagine how horrible would it be if this was something like in a book that could be known and explained, and this is bound by words, and you had to take it away and remember it. It's forgetting. What is it? What's this? What time is it? You know, whatever.
It's funny, like there's so much of this, you know, on YouTube, but I think like a lot of people are aware that there's only a few people probably talking about this. It's funny, I don't know, it's like anything I suppose, so many people seem to be talking about it that maybe seem to be talking about something else, or maybe telling porcupines about it, or jumping on the bandwagon, or I suppose
Sometimes I think it can be sensed if they're talking about something. Let's just say this is not about anything. When if something is being described, nothing isn't a thing that can be described. So, but also it's still unbelievably in the big bad world. It's unbelievably niche. So if you're somehow drawn to this sort of thing, then it seems like there's loads of people talking about this. But
if you're in it,
if you're somehow caught with this thing.
Yeah, that's true too. Yeah, non-duality means nothing to 90.9.
Not
even if it's
at all.
bogus non-duality.
No, yeah, even if it's
Yeah, it's true. I suppose you go down rabbit holes.
And in a way, you see, like there isn't necessarily there isn't bogus non-duality or whatever. With it,
No,
you can, but there's a sort of a feltness to not being taught, or when nothing is known. You know, I think then. Well, I definitely, when I was doing my podcasts and all that, I didn't know, you know, it just was a feeling. It's like, you know, an instinct or a freshness or a sort of I felt known. If that's what you're talking about that there can be a feeling that it's known, and then comes across maybe stale, but it's impossible to say either, you know. So, and also, you know, it's different characters, different ways of talking, same way, friendshipping with some and not with others. Apparently, some that you just click with and others, whatever. It's impossible to say, you know.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know, maybe I'm interested. Some people would start talking about it, when to me, I don't know, it just sounds different, and then I'm thinking, what do they think they're talking about, or why are they doing it?
Oh yeah.
Like it almost, I don't know, sometimes it seems like there's, I don't know, they're almost imitating and saying all the same words you might be saying, and I don't know.
Well, you see, though, the way, like when this apparently was over, let's just say, apparently was over. I remember saying, why would anybody give the impression? Why would anybody grab a microphone? Why would anybody have a website? What's the story with why would they talk about non-duality? Why would they say it's a subject called non-duality? But there's no one doing anything like. So, what are you going to say or do then?
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I know, definitely.
That's what's. But I think I'm always curious to see how it plays out then, when. If there's something known, like if there's something known, the idea of doing, say the idea of knowing there was nothing, or whatever, and then coming up and trying to explain to people that there's nothing, that now to me is a different type of hell.
And yeah, like even if they have the motivation to do it, and maybe I'm being totally cynical when I look at some of them,
But
Even
then
the
you don't. You
motivation.
just. It's impossible to say. But yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. If we remove a bottom to existence, clearly everything falls down because every single thing in the so-called universe, being it is in the universe being it is supported by the previous layer. Maybe meaning is just a construct to survive. What do you think about that? I just think that yeah, I've nothing to say about that. It seems like a total story there, and you don't have to do anything, or remove anything, or fix anything, or balance anything, or know anything for what is to be exactly as it is. And everything is just a construct then, whether it's meaning or specialness or every single tiny thing is a story. Including saying everything, every single tiny thing is a story. See, in a way, it's kind of anything but this. Any other possibility, any other collection of anything else but ordinary, just what's appearing to happen. But obviously, wonderfully and completely, what's appearing to happen is that also. So there's no kind of, there isn't a getting away or getting closer to what's appearing to happen. The language is a trap. Still, if you use it because the pointing needs a kind of structure, isn't it? Well, you see, in a way, there is no pointing to anything, because then it would be other than the hearing of. Then it would be other. It is as this. It's so immediately, intimately, inescapable, appearing as every single word. It just so happens then that there's a description appearing that is no one's description. So nothing is being pointed to. You know, then because then like it'd be like, here, look, it's the moon up there, but sure, it is as the hand, the not wondering what's being pointed at, the moon, the whatever. It's as everything. So yeah. But then, and also the moment you open your mouth, it seems like you're saying something. It seems like you're describing something. No matter what you say, no matter how minimal the words are, and that's why, in a way, there probably is similarities to the words being used, because, yeah, that's how it is. There's, but it is still, in a way, the squealing of a child with total wonderment makes it sound fanciful, but that's probably a much better description. Or a dog barking, or a stick being banged off the ground, or rage, unescapable, unmovable, whatever, you know, it's as everything. So, and in a way, like, really, with the talking, it appears like that it can be, you know, some description is happening, but it's so just it's just amazing. Like, it's just this, like, so. And in this can appear ordinary and stale and boring and or amazing. You know, that's impossible to know. But sure, everything is impossible. So yeah.
imagine, like, when if this was seen all the time here, I don't know, there'd be far less of a motivation to not do stuff, but maybe talk as much, or I suppose there'd be more chilled outness in the moment, so you wouldn't be as manic to.
There's no one in there.
No, yeah.
You know?
But I imagine this
It's lovely, it's just
personality-
lovely. You can feel it coming out and then go, well, there's no one in there already, like. So then it's always then there's just a little kind of an image of a little bit less this, a little bit more that.
I imagine myself would shut up a lot more. Like, there's less motivation to.
Maybe
Less
there'll be way
neurosis.
more. Maybe
Less
way more.
neurosis, yeah.
Maybe it'll just be non-stop. Who knows, like? Do you know what I mean? Free to be exactly how it appears to be being.
Yeah.
Which includes, unfortunately, maybe a bit one way or another way, or giving it all that non-stop, or saying absolutely nothing. You know, who knows?
And it could be both.
Could be
Like,
both.
one day it could be
Yeah.
hell for leather.
And you're not doing an inch already. All fucking ready.
Yeah.
And you're not doing the yeah fuck, like, it's just amazing. Yeah, I know. You can't escape, like.
Yeah, maybe it just feels like now there's less motivation to talk or to engage in arguments that just end up going nowhere. Maybe.
It's everything, like. So maybe then engaging and not, but normally it's. You know, it can be like that, and the psychology goes out of it. In a way, the he said, she said, relating all that, the heraldness, the stickiness, you could say the stickiness.
Like regret and stuff.
It'd be no one's regret if it was regret, but yeah, probably not.
Like endless regret.
Yeah, endless
You know,
regret.
like
Yeah,
an hour
there's just
of
no one there
regret.
to regret, but it might be fucking regret coming here or whatever. You know,
But quicker, probably.
comes and goes. Everything comes and goes, and it seems to be that what is wanted is to hold on to the good stuff. That's the movement then, to hold on and not have the bad stuff. So there's just amazingly, there isn't a person in there doing anything.
Yeah.
Anything. Isn't that amazing? Like, you know, doing regret, doing feeling sad, doing joy, thinking, wondering. It would be such a task for something real to do, really. Balancing the whole universe. You know, it's wonderful arrogance in a way, but you know, that's how it is, like.
It's quite sweet.
It is, yeah, but I'm holding it all together as, and actually you're not even doing the trying to hold it all together. It's so fixed. You're not even like, that's amazing to, I feel like I'm definitely a devil. But that's just what is though, you know.
Fucked up, it happened.
It's coming to mind here, you know that line in a song, I think it's U2, you got yourself stuck in a moment. Do you know what I mean?
Well, there isn't a moment and there isn't a you, and there isn't a stuff, but apart from that, I know exactly what you mean. Trying to explain. So side of what is. So what appears is the appearing of the wholeness. It's just that there isn't an image of a thing called wholeness. There, you can say there's just what's appearing to happen, but that can't be known as a thing called there's just what's appearing to happen, because it is so immediately the hearing of there's just what's appearing to happen. It's already too late the moment you start talking about it, but nothing is too late because it is as this, as everything. So the question could be why the boundlessness for no reason appeared as bounded. So there isn't a thing called boundlessness, and if there is a description appearing of feeling like a separate person and bound, then that is what appears to be being described, and if that's felt to be the real, then that's felt to be the real. That is what is then. So if there's a conviction in feeling bound and that I am definitely here and it's real, then that's what's being described. But like there isn't a thing called boundless, and the boundless can't be held by a word called the boundless, or an image of what boundless is. It's not boundless, like it's like infinity isn't the image of what infinity might be. This is infinity. And the brain just goes, what do you mean? Like, I mean, how big? Time? Like infinity is very big, isn't it? It's very big. So that's as much as the brain, that's as much as you can do with infinity. It's very, 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 very big. And the boundless is, whoa, boundless is brilliant. Boundless, this is the boundless. This is the boundless.
And also, knowing it or not knowing it makes no difference. Doesn't matter. Do you know what I mean?
Doesn't need to be remembered.
Doesn't
need to be written down. Doesn't need to be held. Doesn't need to be grasped. It appears as, fuck it, I thought I got that. And it appears like it's got a brilliant insight there, and then the insight's gone. Oh God, I was going to start off with something brilliant there. It's gone. I was going to say something amazing, but that's also.
The best signs.
Sigh.
I was just thinking, it needs to be. I need to put this here because I don't think people online are getting to hear the full extent of the sighs. Every few seconds in the corner, we're just hearing this. So you won't be able to do it now on tap. No
way now.
It's not fair. We've drawn attention to his lovely sighs.
You wouldn't want to miss that.
It's really kicking off here in the room.
Loud sighs and everything.
So what happened at the meeting? Well, there was one fella. He just sat in the corner and sighed for the whole time. He loved it though.
And when we pointed out his
He
size
stopped
to
breathing.
him, he stopped breathing.
It was all over then.